It's Father's Day this week, which means you should clean up down there.
The yard?
Down in your nether regions.
The lawnmower?
Or, you know, what you could do is hey, people ask, hey, what do you want for Father's Day? If you could get anything, you might want to get the Handyman Rocket Man by Manscaped, the ultimate grooming tool that your dad doesn't know that he actually needs, but will absolutely love. Whether he's keeping his beard sharp or rocking the clean-shaven look, the Handyman Rocket Man has him covered in the fotch area.
He needs
in the face.
He needs the nose and ear hair trimmer.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
I actually had to do that the other day, and it's like the ear hair and the nose hair is like a monthly thing now.
I'm not even ashamed of it. I get it after the nose hairs and I can smell colors. It's awesome. Love it.
So whether it's upstairs or downstairs, Manscaped has you covered. 12 million men trust Manscaped to give their dad the gift of a smooth, fresh face on Father's Day. Use the promo code DANGLE for 15% off your entire order at manscaped.com. Again, it's Manscaped, Manscaped, manscaped.com/dangle. Use the promo code DANGLE, 15% off your entire order, manscaped.com. Let's start the show.
SDPN, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Now, before we get into anything, CJ's show coming out today. It will be out by the time this is up, but I should mention, there's a lot of Cup Final talk. Obviously, CJ did the crazy travel from Edmonton to Florida. He's now in Florida.
Finally.
They talked potential replacements for DeBoer and then a bunch of Ask CJ questions, specifically two names that I'm particularly interested in for the Leafs, Marchand and Rasmus Andersson.
You've been on the Rasmus Andersson train for a very long time, my friend.
Replacements?
No.
Well, how is that going to work?
Well, I mean, listen, they're smart guys. Marchand eventually is going to have to start thinking of his career post-hockey, right?
Anderson seems a little young for that.
Yeah, you're right. But listen, it's never too early to plant.
Marsh Anderson.
Whoa.
Yes.
Leading Dallas to the Cup next year.
Marsh Anderson summer.
Now, the other thing we need to mention is that the Abbotsford Canucks advanced to the Calder Cup.
Which means something to them.
It does mean something to them. Now, who are they playing?
Friggin' Florida's team.
That's right. The Charlotte Checkers.
The Charlotte Checkers.
So the Florida Panthers are in the finals of both the AHL and the NHL.
I feel like we've asked this question in the past. It just feels like something I should know and I don't. Has a team ever won the Stanley Cup and the Calder Cup in the same year?
Oh.
And who was the last team to do
I have no idea.
That's just a healthy organization, right?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's well run. I would
95, the Devils did it with the Albany River Rats.
The Albany River Rats. Does Albany have a team?
Still?
Aren't they called the Albany Devils?
No.
No?
No,
They should
there's a new Devils team. Unless it's the Albany one. I feel Albany and like for a long time Binghamton. They just kept pinging around all over the place. AHL is impossible.
Albany Devils 2010 to 2017. Now then it was Binghamton Devils, and now they've been the Utica. They've been Utica Comets, the old Vancouver team.
Yes,
because they have now at Abbotsford for 5 years.
And it was impossible to fly from Utica to Vancouver, which is why they left.
Simply impossible. You could never call it
impossible. That's an old throwback.
The Albany River Rats are dead.
Oh, drowned.
Yeah, they drowned.
I personally miss the Lowell Devils.
Lowell. I forgot about Lowell.
There you go.
I think we need to put some respect on the Charlotte Checkers because Jesse Puljujärvi is having a resurgence, not at the NHL, but at least in a pro hockey career.
Who are some of the guys they got? Let's
they got Chris Drieger too, which is a name.
Hey,
Tobias Bjornfoot,
who won the cup last year.
Yes, who is a guy. And not a lot of other names.
Is that Alex Steve's brother, Ben? Is that Ben Steves? Kaapo Kähkönen is another one of their goalies.
There's a roster player.
Memorial Cup winner with the Oshawa Generals, Ken Appleby.
Yes.
You were about to mention him.
Definitely.
Yep.
Mike Benning. I don't know. Maybe he's related to Matt.
It's a small world.
I recognize a few of the names.
Rasmus Asplund.
Yes.
Hey.
He was a big member of my NHL, I want to say 23 streams, because he would develop, his potential was really high. So he would develop into a pretty good player. And every time he made a play for our team, I'd scream out to the Twitch chat, hold on to your Asplund.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun.
His potential was very high, but who was he drafted by? Buffalo.
Oh,
Yes, because that was when I was doing my Sabres franchise rebuild, and he was a part of our organization. He became like a second line player for us.
33rd overall pick. He was a second rounder who was traded for a 7th round pick in 2025.
Oh, that's quite a fall.
That it is. It is.
20 goals this season?
Sabres catching strays, like for no good
Yeah,
reason.
for just because Rasmus Asplund is up. 20 goals in the AHL, 23 assists, 43 points. Not too bad.
And he's going to get called up, and he's going to win the Conn Smythe.
Who do you guys have in the series?
Oh, my God. You know what? I'm going to say the Canucks because we saw them play the San Jose Barracuda, and they killed them.
Now,
Twice.
to be fair, the Barracuda had mostly ECHL guys.
Whatever.
Yeah. They crushed them.
They murdered
Abbotsford looked
them.
good.
Yeah.
We saw
Yeah.
them twice that weekend, right? Because
We did, back to
played
back.
the 3-game set.
And did we
like
get
it's
did we
baseball.
get 2 goals for the Barracuda that weekend? It was
Yeah.
it was a tough one.
I want to say they lost by a combined score. It was like 11-2 or something.
Right.
It was
We
bad.
only saw the teams we were rooting for lose while we were in San Jose.
That's right.
That's right.
The
because
Leafs
the
also
Sharks
lost.
lost too.
We saw
And the Leafs.
We saw 3 losses by the Barracuda because one was in a road game too.
That's right.
And then we saw the Sharks beat the Leafs.
Yep.
And then we saw the Sharks lose to the Rangers. We
Bad.
were 0-5.
And the Rangers like killed them that night too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
0-5, guys. Well done.
It's great.
Good. Look at us.
It's kind of impressive.
It is legitimately impressive.
Yeah.
So, 5 losses spread over 3 teams. Like I feel like that's
And like 6 days.
in 6 days. It's impressive.
And people go, "Why are you so negative?" Hey, fuck off. How about that? How about that? Now, let's start with Jesse. I want you to pull up the clip that I sent you because we're going to start how the game ended. And how the game ended is for a Leaf fan, it's 2 things. It's exciting because you're like, man, he'd be great in blue and white, but it's also PTSD because, man, has he done bad things to the blue and white?
I gotta be honest. He's like my, I don't know, 5th or 6th most hated Panther. Like,
Man, that's really saying something.
I respect the man.
Yeah.
I respect the man. He's turned back the clock. He's playing great. As CJ likes to say, old guys are having a moment.
They
They legitimately are.
They
It was
are.
tied with less than 18 seconds to go by 40-year-old Corey Perry and Brad Marchand, who is an ancient 37. Gets a shorthanded goal and the overtime winner. The first player to ever have a shorthanded goal and an OT winner in a playoff game.
Can you get out of the
Wow.
way of Steve? Because we'd like Steve. If you could get out of the way of Steve, that'd be great.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a crazy stat.
It's a crazy stat, but this is a crazy
you wanna
call.
play? Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize what you were prepping. Oh boy, Bouchard is caught. Marchand breakaway, stick lift. He scores! Brad Marchand, his 2nd breakaway goal of the night, wins it in double overtime. And this Stanley Cup Final is tied 1 game 2-1 heading back to Florida. Marchand.
They weren't there yet.
What a play. What a goal. The Panthers steal one in Edmonton. Oh, boy.
Yeah. How about that?
Do you think Chris Cuthbert's ever said, "Oh boy," on a broadcast?
I think he should start.
Yeah, I think you should add that to his repertoire.
Everybody's gonna have
I
that
like
thing.
an "Oh boy."
You ever want tips?
Hey, yeah. Hey, Chris. Yeah. Oh.
Hey, this is how it's done. I like the "Oh boy." It's good.
So, after game 1, some of the clips from the stream were going viral, and a lot of Oilers fans were like, "Get this man on a broadcast.
Nice.
This guy is great." After this one, where I talked about Marchand's overtime winner, Someone named Alberta Oilers fan says, "Why is this ugly fat fuck that never played so excited for that goal?"
Man, Alberta never leaves it at home. They bring the entire arsenal, don't they?
Hey, Steve, I want you to look at that tweet.
Mm-hmm.
Analyze it for a second. Look at all the words. Point out the lie.
Ugly.
All right.
I'm handsome. Fat, never played. Now, I play now. I played yesterday. Does that count?
Hey,
I got an assist.
Hey, you know what
off
doesn't
a
matter?
face-off win.
Did you guys
I'm
win?
an animal out
Did you
there.
guys win?
We did.
Hey!
We beat the first place team in the
Did you wait?
Nice.
You got a point.
I got a point.
I had a point.
Nice.
I actually
Primary?
So you know what's funny?
Primary?
So primary.
Hey,
This is my
all
first
right.
primary
All
point.
right, I want you copper laying this.
But what's crazy is they gave me 2 assists.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I was on the ice for 2 goals. Like, so I don't know where the
Just
second
take it.
assist came
Just
from.
take it.
Oh,
Doesn't
yeah,
matter.
I'm taking
Take it.
I'm taking it for sure.
Wow, you had a good game. Jesse might
Not really.
draft you in his next set of streams. I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe I'll be as good as Rasmus Asplund.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a high bar.
Yeah.
Now, I tweeted this, and I believe this. I don't know if I've ever enjoyed the first 2 games of a Stanley Cup Final as much as I've enjoyed these.
Never.
Two. So much fun. We've had 3 games in 2 games. They have played the equivalent, essentially, of 9 periods almost in 2 games, which is also great. It's the first time that we've got to double overtime since the 2020 finals. By the way, Corey Perry scored the winner in that one, and we'll get to him in a second. But I think it's just such a unbelievable rate of play. Like, one of the things that blew me away about the Four Nations is just the talent level in that final was so crazy. And actually, a lot of the games, so not just the final, but the final was so intense.
Both Canada-USA games were insane. Canada-Sweden was pretty insane.
Yes.
Even Canada-Finland should not have been that
close.
insane. Yeah.
But the level of play in this is so impressive because of the attrition and like the war that these 2 teams went to get there. And I think, I don't expect the 1-game Four Nations final. I don't expect the Stanley Cup final to be at that level because there's so much talent in that game.
And yet
there's so much pace. And yet it looks pretty damn good. I'm blown away by just how much excitement there is. And I mean, we had 5 goals in the first period?
Yep. 5 goals, and just neither team seems bothered or fazed by basically anything that's going on.
What is it like for you guys as Leaf fans watching a team go down, doesn't matter which team in this series, and not be affected by it?
Oh, listen, I was mad at the Leafs when they lost, and you ever have something really spicy and drink water and it does nothing? Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Oh, what? It's still hot, and I'm still mad.
I think of that Seth Jones Game 7 goal, and Brad Treliving said it to the press. He was like, when Seth Jones scored that, it was like we were down 3 or 4-0, and that was the first goal.
Yeah, no, their foundation stinks.
No, I'm talking about the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers, though. What's it like to watch teams that doesn't affect?
Yeah,
But
but Steve's larger point.
The larger point is the Panthers and Oilers are built on bedrock.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
which I never thought I would say about this Oilers team.
And the Leafs foundation stinks.
It's not good. And I'm so mad they're not still playing. But listen, I think I would like to correct the narrative out there with the Panthers. Listen, I hate you. Like a lot. I don't like you. But I respect how good they are outside of how much I hate them. And I said that heading into the Leaf series too. I said, if you just think of them as a goon squad, they're going to kill you. They're too fast. They move the puck too well. They can deflect. They create off the rush. Their special teams are good. They get saves. They get everything. A 2-0 series lead would have been unreal for Edmonton, but it's very unrealistic against this damn team, man.
It's rough.
They're going to have to steal one on the road.
Yes. Now, I wanted to ask you guys, there's a few things, obviously, we want to talk about. My favorite stat that continues over the playoffs is Sam Bennett, 13 goals now, 12 are on the road. So that means the Oilers probably don't need to worry about him too much over the next year.
He had his first 50-point season this year.
It's crazy.
50, but that's it.
Yep.
And now he's a point a game in the playoffs.
And
it doesn't make any sense
either. He's not leaving.
I think he's sticking around.
Of course.
Because he if they win the thing, he deserves the Conn Smythe Trophy. I think everybody's gonna agree with that. And at that point, you have to just concede whatever number he wants. I assume there'll be some sort of consolation because he's gonna stick around in Florida, give him a nice, maybe a discount. Like it won't be the same he'll get on the open market. But I don't know how you can just let that player go.
Jess, here's what's gonna happen. He's gonna get the Conn Smythe and he's gonna sign for $7 million. Mm-hmm. That's what's gonna happen. And we're going to there will be a riot out here.
Right.
Out here.
But even then, you look at that and you say a 50-point player shouldn't be getting $7 million. Like the context through which Sam Bennett's getting his $7 million is so important.
Yes.
Because you can't just look at the regular season numbers and what he is as a player. There's a whole thing going on here with Sam Bennett.
And yet, made Team Canada and was not playing well heading into that tournament too. I remember we were talking about that. He had a really hot start. And we were really concerned because Canada had what looked like no goaltending. And I was like, well, while we're at it, Mark Scheifele is performing incredibly. And here's Sam Bennett. He hasn't had a point in like 12 games or whatever it was. And then sure enough, in the gold medal game, he scored Canada's second goal. Reminds me of another young up-and-coming piece of shit in Corey Perry.
Oh, yes.
Corey Perry in 2010 was already a cup champion, but a young up and coming piece of shit.
Yeah.
Who was in the middle of his first Hart Trophy season, scores Canada's second goal in the gold medal game for Team Canada. Scores Canada's second goal for Team Canada at a boys' team.
While we are on the subject of Corey Perry, I just want to ask, because he obviously tied up the game with 17 seconds to go, but Sportsnet wrote something and I'm confused and I can't figure it out. Okay. So
hit me.
This is the 4-4 goal, 17 seconds to go.
Got it.
Yeah.
Here's what they wrote. The clutch goal actually broke a record as the 40-year-old former Cup winner netted the latest game-tying goal in Stanley Cup Final history, breaking the previous record set by Ted Sloan of the Toronto Maple Leafs in 1951. What record did he break?
He netted the latest game-tying goal in Stanley Cup Final history.
Like latest
in
the
game.
Yeah, latest.
Oh,
I can see how
I
that
read
would
that
be.
like 40 times. I'm like, the latest. Like, well, yeah.
No, like the latest in a game.
So you thought
I
latest
thought it was
as
like
in
his
most
latest.
recently.
Like, has he? Yeah, most recently.
Okay.
Okay. I put it in the CJ show chat. Nobody responded. I was like, what the hell? What am I doing? That
was a lot of words. I don't know.
It's a lot
Stanley
of words.
Cup Final stats are kind of crazy because we're getting all these firsts and latest, and you're like, but the league's been around over 100 years. There's not that many Stanley Cup Final games.
Yeah, there isn't.
Yeah.
So, I'm like,
Ted Sloan.
the 50s, 18 seconds. Surely someone scored one later.
No.
I got one for you.
What do you got?
I got one for that. I'm watching for when this happens.
Ready.
And it's going to be really cool. Connor McDavid is 4 points away from Sidney Crosby in Stanley Cup Final points in his career.
Holy shit.
Can you believe that?
Okay.
Crosby's played in 4.
4 from tying, 5 from passing.
Wait a minute.
Sidney freaking Crosby. This is his second Cup Final, and we're in game 2.
He's played 9 Cup Final games.
Yeah.
And Crosby played what, 20-something?
I don't know what the number is for Crosby, but it's probably in that neighborhood.
Detroit was 7-7, right? Or 6-7?
No, 6-7, so there's 13. 6 against the Sharks, so now we're at 19.
What was the next year?
And then Preds, I think, was also 6.
Yes,
so
it was.
25.
Can I ask you a question?
That I read that this morning. I forget which article in The Athletic they had because they've done a whole bunch. They have so many articles each night after the finals.
insane.
But one of them had McDavid where he's landing in the parts of history, the more he plays hockey. And that one just blew my mind.
Okay. My question in the group chat on Friday night, and I think I got some side glances, but I still wanted to say it.
Okay.
How long is it before we're having the conversation that Connor McDavid is the best player of all time? And I know people are like, well, he's got to win some championships. But, Gretzky, respectfully, and all the other guys that won championships, won them in leagues with 20 and 21 teams or less. And so, CJ and Julian had a really interesting chat 18 months ago about the Hall of Fame and how we're going to have to start to accept that a lot of players are going to get into the Hall of Fame without a championship because the league is so much bigger now, right? And I get it. Like LeBron went to 7 or 9 straight finals, whatever the hell that number is. It was crazy. Yeah. You got to be that good to be the best.
Yep.
I'm not saying we need to have that chat yet, but
it's on the horizon.
It's close, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like are we talking Connor McDavid top 5 ever yet?
I think we're a ways away.
Top 5 forward is reasonable because there's an argument that Crosby is already there. But I remember I've talked about this before. I think it was like 2014 or 15. I think it was my first year at Sportsnet. I was like, hey, I don't know if anyone's paying attention, but like Crosby might pass Yzerman. And everyone's like, no. Okay, he was hundreds and hundreds of points away. And I'm like, well, then they're like, well, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to do that. Okay, yeah, for sure.
And he didn't stay healthy and still came back.
Right.
So past Yzerman.
Ovechkin. Oh, he could pass Gretzky.
Yeah, I remember when you brought it up on the show and Jesse and I were like, you're insane.
I was on that a decade ago. And people were like, nah. And then
I was meh.
Maybe a little bit before COVID, people were like, he's got a shot. And then it was like, oh, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. He's going to break it. And now Matthews is on a trajectory to beat Ovi. And people are saying the same things, which I just find very funny. Now, Matthews, I think, has probably already missed more games in his career than Ovechkin. So, that's a huge red flag. But I don't know, why not? Why not leave yourself open to the possibility that he could be the greatest?
I mean, I think when you talk about playoff Stanley Cup Finals points, like
he
really,
already has a record.
If our conversations are always, well, listen, yeah, regular season's great, but when it counts. Well, that's when it counts, isn't it?
Yeah, but your question is like, when should we be having that conversation? I think that conversation's like very premature.
Does he need like 2 championships? Is it 1 championship? What are we talking about?
He hasn't done like nearly the same amount in his career as Sidney Crosby. Like it's not even close. Like we're a decade away from him just having the amount of time and games to build the resume that Sidney Crosby has.
Right.
So
I mean, he's gonna. Hopefully, he gets. I mean, I'm praying for this. A gold medal in 2026 here.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Maybe a championship this year.
Golden goal.
So again with Gretzky, he's so far ahead of his peers.
Yes.
So that's.
Oh, you're not even talking Crosby. You're talking Gretzky.
You're talking Gretzky.
I'm talking Gretzky.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So.
I know he's that far ahead, but we're grading on a curve here.
No,
different game.
But playoff points, like just to emphasize, no one has 300 points in the playoffs except for Gretzky. He has 382.
Almost 400.
The second place guy is Mark Messier, who was his teammate. The third place guy is Jari Kurri, who was his teammate.
His line mate.
The fourth place guy is Glenn Anderson, who was his teammate.
And his line mate.
The closest non-Gretzky teammate is Jaromir Jagr.
Wow.
At number 5, who had 201.
How many does McDavid have? Just for fun.
Well, Crosby, by the way, is tied with Jagr with 201.
Whoa.
He's an all-timer. He's an absolute all-timer. Where is who?
Where's McDavid?
He's got to be so far back.
Probably
oh, wow. He is tied for 33rd with in all-time playoff points with Brian Propp. 1 point ahead is Marian Hossa. 2 points ahead is Stan Mikita.
How many points?
How many points does he have? 148.
Okay.
By the way, 29th all-time, Brad Marchand.
Nice.
Man, like again, I've always been a big proponent of appreciating the greats while they're still playing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need the full body of work.
Right.
Like the trajectory they're on is simply cracked. And playoff points they're much harder to predict or forecast. You don't know until they arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Crosby could have 400 if the Penguins kept making the playoffs and going on deep runs, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time Crosby won a playoff round?
20.
Wasn't it the Stanley Cup run?
Maybe. That's the case for the Capitals.
Have they won a round?
Oh, no. It was the case for the Capitals until
they won this year. They won a round this year.
Yeah. No, it's the Penguins have been. Crosby's been putting up like 7, 8, or 9 points in 6 or 7 games for like 7 years.
When do we get some answers on what the Penguins are doing? I'm interested.
Never. Kyle Dubas is their GM.
I know. It's crazy.
So yeah, with that conversation, like I don't think there's like, I don't think that should stop anybody from having like McDavid's an all-time great conversation.
Certainly, if he retired today, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, easily. Like McDavid's already punched his ticket into the Hall of Fame. I think that's like, and I think your conversation about appreciating the greats, like all of that's excellent. But saying that he's past Gretzky now, or
all I said was how long until we start hinting in that conversation. Because to me, it feels like we're closer than we even imagine. Like it could be 2 or 3 years, and then we're having that conversation. Does that make sense? And that's pretty close. Like you consider Wayne Gretzky and the shit that he did and his 2,000 points and all that stuff. Like I do feel like Connor. Do I think Connor's ever going to have a 215 point season? Not likely. But you have to remember that Wayne Gretzky was playing guys with like feathers in their pads.
Yes.
Right? Like it's a different game.
I think more than 2 years has to pass before McDavid's in the same stratosphere as Gretzky. That's my opinion.
Just to show you how special these Oilers are, and yes, we will obviously glaze the Panthers as well. Leon Draisaitl is tied for 45th all time. He is not all that far behind McDavid. McDavid 148, Draisaitl is 137. Tied with Phil Esposito, 1 point back of Patrick Kane.
Wow. And all the great runs he went on.
2 points back of his teammate, Corey Perry.
Wow.
Dude, they're unbelievable. I'm surprised there aren't more Panthers there, just because this is their third straight.
The Penguins last won a playoff round in 17-18. They beat the Flyers in the first round.
Okay, so that was the year after their last cup?
Yeah, they won the cup in 16-17. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been a while since Crosby's been to the second round. Since 2018.
Connor McDavid has more points than Alex Ovechkin in 18 fewer games.
That's nuts.
Oh my God.
I want to say that at some point I want to have the Steve Dangle video of how the Panthers have wasted the late Crosby years. They've completely like the
Panthers?
The Panthers, excuse me, the Penguins.
The Panthers definitely have done that.
Yeah, the Panthers wasted it
by finishing ahead of them.
But yes. By daring to make the playoffs when the Penguins should be in. It's like the ownership, the choices they made at management.
Oh.
It's just so bad.
That doesn't sound like a Steve Dangle video. That sounds like a segment on this podcast by you, Adam.
Well, I think,
sounds like we tee you up and we say,
Sidney Crosby, an era wasted.
Yeah.
And then Adam talks about the Penguins for 20 minutes.
It makes me mad. It just makes me upset. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you should have that conversation.
All right. Well, we can do that. I'll do some stats. The other thing, I love this quote from Paul Maurice. That's right. I said I love something from Paul Maurice. He said on the Jones-Mikula pairing, he said they can hold hands in the middle and cover the boards. What? They're so big, right? Their range. And like, it's sort of like the Kevin Durant sort of like stretching his arms out.
That's funny.
It's a really, really good way to put it. And, there's been some discussion today about defensemen over 6 feet and teams and what they bring to the finals. And I have to do a little bit more digging on this. But Brad Treliving, I'm looking at this from Brad Treliving from a Toronto perspective. Everybody on Toronto's defense is like 6'1" or 6'2" or higher. And it looks like that's what Edmonton's done. That's what Florida's done. And it seems to be in the playoffs when things tighten up, you need extra.
You either got to be the one doling out the punishment or durable. Like, so I look at a guy like Gus Forsling as durable, right? He'll block the shots. He can win you board battles. How many hits is he going to lay? I don't know. How hard are they going to be? I don't know. And then there's like Nico Mikkola.
Yeah.
And Aaron Ekblad.
Who just keeps getting better, by the way, Mikkola.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yes. Both teams are listen, we telegraphed this. We predicted this about a decade ago when like Alex DeBrincat was falling out of the first round for no good reason. Literally no good reason other than he's small. I think he had back-to-back, maybe even back-to-back 50-goal seasons in the OHL. Nobody does that. There was no reason for him to be a second-round pick other than he was small. That happened. He was instantly good in Chicago, and the pendulum swung.
And Chicago was like, I hate this. Let's trade him.
Well, yeah, it was very strange. But the pendulum swung, and everyone's going after these little guys. The best little guys are durable, though. Like, Are they all Brendan Gallagher necessarily? No. But they're at very least durable.
Theo Fleury, durable.
Well, yes. And then, Tom Wilson, right around that same time, signed this huge deal. And at that time in his career, really hadn't done much offensively. And we were like, what is that? And it was like, well, wait. Dubas loved to talk about, and the people who loved him used to talk about market inefficiency. And it was smart. We're overlooking all these little guys because they're little. Do they score? Okay, well, hockey's scoring contests. Mm-hmm. So get the guys who score. And it was smart. But then Wilson signs that huge deal, and I'm like, oh, look around the league.
There's no other Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson is the market inefficiency now.
Yep.
And now the pendulum is swinging way aggressively back the other way, where it's all these huge dudes who are skilled and violent. Sam Bennett was like drafted at the wrong moment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He was the skinny 4th overall pick.
Couldn't do any pull-ups at the combine.
Couldn't do a pull-up. Probably had a shoulder injury.
Yeah,
stupid. I remember
so stupid
talking about that on the podcast. I'm like, how important is being able to do that?
Yeah, and it's not.
Like, and it's difficult, having a body like a bag of milk and asking that question. But like, it seems pretty. It's not just that he's a great player in the league. It's the type of player he is. Like in 2014, I could have never imagined that this is the type of player he would turn into. I could easily picture him being good. He's a 4th overall pick. He did very well in junior. But this guy's a bastard. An absolute bastard out there. So it's no wonder that every year it's durable teams and bullying teams that make it to the Final Four and then the Stanley Cup Final.
Mm-hmm. Here's a Final Four stat for you with big guys. The Carolina Panthers were the only Carolina Hurricanes. They're the Carolina Panthers exist too.
They do.
The Carolina Hurricanes were the only team amongst the Final Four teams to ice defensemen who were under 6 feet. Sean Walker, Gostis Bear, and Orlov are all 5'11". The Stars, Oilers, and Panthers don't have any defensemen under 6 feet.
And the Carolina
Troy Stetcher's like a little shorter, but
yeah,
he's not amongst the regular.
And the Hurricanes
Vegas
got run the F over.
Yeah. So there you go. The big guys, the big teams, they were
rushed. Yeah.
Vegas
you could probably have one.
Decor in 2023.
Isn't Cale Makar shorter than 6? Isn't he like 5'11"?
I don't know.
Like, and he's otherworldly. And
Jake Wallman, who's an important piece of the series, is 6 foot. Is 6 foot. Like that's what he's.
So that means he's probably 5'11".
I don't. Really? He looks bigger than it on the ice.
That's what NHL says.
All right.
So yeah, and they probably give him a couple inches.
Yeah,
probably 5'5".
The stats are also ass. the height stats are also ass.
So, but that's just like everybody's measured against whatever's there. I don't have any other.
Jesse doesn't have the inside track on Wallman's actual height.
It says he's 6 foot. And
sources say.
I think it's interesting that Carolina is the only team with defensemen under 6 feet.
Well, and it's interesting that they keep making it a certain distance.
Yeah.
They're just a different version of Toronto. Obviously, a more successful one. Well, they're more successful. Concede that right away. Like it's not. How is it even a question? It's not.
I think Toronto's copied from their homework a little bit, right? In order to get bigger.
That at every turn that we hold the Hurricanes in this regard.
But they're built completely differently. One's built with a core of star players, and the other one's built with we're going to all do it as a team.
Which always confused me. No, but Jesse, they have the core of star players. But what you're forgetting is I'm so fucking smart. I'm so fucking smart.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot your name was Kyle
I'm going to be able to surround all these stars with league min guys from wherever the fuck. And we're going to win the cup because I'm so unbelievably smart. Oh, I'm so goddamn smart.
Man, I'm only going to break bread with people I would die with,
Yeah. I'm going to be so mediocre and get promoted and a raise, and I'm going to be so fucking smart somewhere else.
I want to talk about
You're going to give yourself the GM job.
Yeah,
man.
Because why would I hire someone who's not nearly as smart as me?
I maintain that as an all-time dumb decision. Hire a general manager, let them take the shit. Why would you, if you're the president, you don't take the shit? Yeah. He never learned that. Look at Shanny. Shanny went through 3 of them.
He didn't learn a lot of things. And by the way, anyone who's like, stop making it about the Leafs. Hey, we're doing it to dump on them.
Yeah. I want to talk about the 3-2 goal. And I sent Jesse the text on this. This is the power play goal. And again, I know the Panthers won this game, but
Why were they on the power play?
Why were they on the power play?
Because Sam Bennett is a dirty, dirty cheater.
Yeah.
Who tried to injure Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
The amount of people who bent their very smooth brains into balloon animals to say Bennett wasn't trying to do what he was very obviously trying to do.
Yes, he was. Come on. Come on. Come on. Of course he was. There's a lot of oops. That's why he's so good at it. That's the point, guys. That's it. That's how he does it. Is it makes it feel like, oh, but why is it always the same guy?
Bro.
Come on. Stop.
Bro.
All right, now
and I'm supposed to feel bad when you call me dumb?
I think there was quite a few defenders of Sam Bennett. It was odd because how many times can you go through that?
A lot of people want that scoop.
Like if it's somebody else, like give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's not somebody else. It's the same guy over and over and over again. And he saw an opportunity. He got a little pushed, and he's like, "I'm gonna hop down on the ground. If I land on Stuart Skinner's leg, it's a good thing."
So the feedback, and I do have to bring it back to the Leafs again, but I promise it's valid. If Bennett was on your team, you would love him. Yeah, he's a player on my team. Now, here's what I wouldn't do, though. Blindly defend him. Now, and I can prove that. Well, you guys said Nazem Kadri. Yep. When he got suspended, we were like, Naz, you frigging idiot. And that's why, even though the trade sucked ass, it was bringing him back was unjustifiable. It was unjustifiable. He cost you 2 years. And then he went to Colorado and cost them a year, and no one remembers that because then they won.
Yeah, it all ended good.
And he was good and cashed out, and then it was like, see, I'm not a playoff liability, even though I ruined 3 of them. Like, because he won the cup.
Right. But it's about Sam Bennett.
Yeah, no. I know. It's about Sam Bennett. No.
Yeah, get there.
But what he does, because he's on your favorite team, carte blanche. You do whatever you want. Bring a box cutter on the ice next time. It's fine. Naz, I mean, there was a little garnish around it. Like, what he did to Jake DeBrusk was inexcusable. The argument that I made and a lot of Leaf fans made was the refs let that game get out of hand, which they did. And, do you love, how do you feel about your monster, Dr. Frankenstein? They created it. And then when Naz goes nuclear, they're like, oh my goodness. And, I was about to say Sam Bennett's going to seriously hurt someone. He's already done that. And he didn't care.
This already happened.
Right. And I haven't seen anyone go, he shouldn't have done that, but it was, maybe this reaction's a bit overblown. It's you're gaslighting the entire hockey world, and that's okay. I've also seen people go, I don't want him on my team because that's not how I want to win. And I think that's also stupid.
I'm past that.
I'd
like to just win.
I would like a roster of borderline / recovering criminals to win the Stanley Cup and have their names engraved, and we all have a parade.
I don't care.
And you
just
can
win.
complain and also blow your nose.
Why don't you respect the Florida Panthers?
I mean, I respect them.
Yeah, but you don't like them.
He just doesn't want them.
But I don't like them.
But that's how you want your team to be built.
No. But if that's how you have to win, and I mean,
Maddie's confused.
I got
this is important. This is important.
Fair questioning, right?
This is, yes. And I'm trying to give you a fair answer. It is worth mentioning that the Oilers are not blameless angels either. Did you see after the Star season what they said about Roope Hentz's foot?
No.
The reason he didn't play game 3, I think, of that series is because his foot would not stop bleeding.
Oh, shit.
Which is metal as hell, because if it had stopped bleeding, it seems to imply he would have played. But they literally couldn't get his foot to stop bleeding. And that's from a Darnell Nurse slash. And was he punished?
Must have hit it hard. Holy shit.
Was he got a 2-minute minor. So like,
and then Bouchard hits him the next time he's in.
Next
and
game,
then Bouchard away from the play, just like, I'm going to attack this injured
stop
guy.
bleeding.
Yeah.
And like Perry got pushed into Bob, but he took full advantage.
Yeah.
He got pushed, and then he's like, "Ruh!" and he just torpedoed the guy. And, everyone who's like, well, that's not how I want my team to. Well, then your team's going to lose forever, because this is how you win in the NHL, is by being just hunks of shit. Just such bad people. And then people will nationally, over the span of weeks, do profiles on how you're amazing.
A good person.
You're just such a good person.
And how much your team loves playing with you.
And tear flesh from bone with your own teeth.
Let's have a look at the Connor McDavid move that leads to the Leon Draisaitl goal after the Sam Bennett penalty.
So we can't really show it, but we can show some stills here, I guess.
Just the toe drag.
Yeah.
The toe drag is what we need. Barkov, by the way, has been not good in this series. I'm just going to say it.
Get a Lindell jersey, I'm telling you.
And this one.
Aaron Ekblad, and set you on fire. And douse you in kerosene, set you on fire.
Barkov, by the way.
Oh my God.
That's so good. And then you have like Barkov in the back reaching. Like, it's a gray visual.
Well, and if you're Forsling, like Forsling's body language is, they got it. Oh, fuck. Like, you barely even have time to form the thought, oh, fuck, in your head.
And Leon the whole way head up, knowing that McDavid can get him this puck at any moment.
Just be ready.
It's like one of the best plays I've ever seen. It's just considering the moment, Stanley Cup Final. To go up a goal, it's a play that only like legends are making.
Now, I've got a couple of things that we can't run. We can't run the video from this, but we can run the audio, and it's what Leon Draisaitl had to say about it. Let me just, while Jesse's pulling that up, let me give you a crazy stat that you're not going to believe me on, and you're going to double check it. Okay. But don't worry, you don't have to. I just did.
Okay, great.
Sasha Barkov in his last 4 games is a -9.
In his last 4 games?
2 in the Stanley Cup, the last 2 games of the Carolina Hurricane series. -9.
I got so much shit for during the Leafs-Panthers series being like, okay, well, Tkachuk is obviously not okay. And the other 2 names I remember bringing up often were Forsling, who was so unbelievable last year. I still think he's battling something, but he's obviously still playing well and he's playing through it. And the other guy was Barkov. And it was weird to get pushback on account of he got injured in the first round.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So here's
we saw it. We saw him get injured.
And they're 3-1.
Oh yeah. They're 3-1 in those games.
They're 3-1.
Yeah, but you know why? Because they've got other lines.
Games where he's -9.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is they have other lines. They have other damn lines.
Anton Lindell, man. I'm telling you. That is the one thing about Bennett's contract that is very interesting to me. Because, I mean, I think he's just going to stay in Florida. You already have Barkov making 10. Bennett's going to get something very aggravating like 7. What's Lindell's next contract look like? How do you keep that 1, 2, 3 together?
When is it up? No, you don't. You trade him for assets. You find Florida finds guys. How do you think they found Lindell? They found him. They'll find the next guy.
Oh my God. Or you just make Bennett a winger.
Yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out. Okay, Jesse. Also, the cap's going up crazy, so I'm sure they'll be able to find it.
The correct answer is they trade Barkov.
What? All right. There's a Leon clip, and then there's an Aaron Ekblad clip. So we can run, I believe, the Ekblad clip, but I don't think we can run the Leon clip. Only audio on this. But here's Connor McDavid was asked about that toe drag through the 2 Panthers on the power play and said, How do you learn that? How do you teach that kids that? Go ahead, Jesse.
Connor, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I want to ask about the assist to Leon last game. Like, I know that's a product of talent and years of skill work, but if there's a kid out there who's like, how did he do that? Like, what would you say to him?
How do you develop that? Yeah, I mean, it's as you said, a lot goes into that. As you said, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
You can't learn that. Let me answer it for you. It's just you don't. Doesn't. Yeah, I'll answer it for him.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great clip.
It's a great teammate. Leon Draisaitl answering a question for Connor McDavid so that McDavid doesn't feel pressure and he can win. I don't know why these guys keep asking him questions. Are you trying to make them lose?
Leon said they like the pressure. They enjoy the pressure.
You
Good
don't
answer.
like talking about yourself.
So I like that. Also, I think Max Domi had a diabetes walk this weekend, and he was talking to some media outlets, and he said it's a privilege to play in the kind of pressure Toronto offers.
No,
he believes that though.
No.
Steve, you're wondering about the Lindell contract? Like, how do they keep it all together? He's signed through 2030.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Is he actually? What's his deal?
$5 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep.
So, I don't know if they're worried about that anytime soon.
I don't like you. Oh, that's so annoying.
They signed it last July.
Yo, that is going to be, I'm telling you, one of the biggest sweetheart contracts in the entire NHL.
Yeah.
He's like 22.
6 years, $30 million, 5 per season.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh, I don't like you guys. I would like you to stop. Okay.
All right. So then there's I just sent you the other clip. This is Aaron Ekblad, who was burned on that play, talking about it.
It was some play McDavid made on the power play there. What's the biggest challenge when he's got the puck in that kind of situation?
He's got multiple options. So that's the biggest challenge, right? You're trying to block a shot, you're trying to block a low pass, a backdoor pass, and a walk on water toe drag. So, McJesus.
I just thought that was good. A little sign of respect.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good answer. And he didn't just go, well, he's incredible.
No, he gave you the real, here's what I'm trying to do.
Here's what I'm trying to do. Here are all the things I have to process at once at Mach billion. And, a little.
And I got burned by the best player on earth.
Walk on water toe drag. I mean, it's a disgusting toe drag.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Crazy.
And look at him. They won. So I guess that definitely helps. But he's not even embarrassed by it.
Well, why would you be?
It's the best player in the world. Bud Colson does that to you. You maybe go home. And he's been playing well.
Talkett was wrong about this guy. Now I know for sure.
Yeah, he's been. I just picked the name out of a hat. But that's Connor McDavid, right?
Yep.
It's McJesus.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Okay, you know what? So we'll leave the finals there. Steve's obviously got his watch along tonight. And then obviously we don't get a game till Thursday. So Friday will be the recap episode, but we will have Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week on the SDP for anybody wondering, because we have had to move things around recently, but we don't have to do that this week.
I think this series is about to go off the rails a little.
I can't wait.
Because game 3 is tonight. I still think this one will be relatively normal-ish. We'll see. But then the 2-day gap without travel in Florida, and then there's only a day gap between games 4 and 5. There's going to be some sore bodies. Sore bodies. I think that's going to be a hit fest.
How likely, I know this is a really unfair question, but how likely, because this is a big, big game, how likely is it that tonight's winner is the cup winner in your mind, guys? Do you think it has any factor on this? I mean, obviously winning a game has a factor. Outside of that, though, the mental edge, you always feel like you're coming from behind. These guys don't seem to be worried about that. I've been behind before.
The thing I'm most worried about with the Edmonton Oilers is that long change. I know, Steve, you brought it up a little bit too. And I think more people are starting to notice, and it's being talked about. They struggle in that second period.
It's the Panthers.
They're struggling because the Panthers are so good at it, right? Yeah, it's so the fact that now the Panthers are at home and it's 2 times,
It's still the one.
Oh, it's still the one. Oh, yeah, because you're coming.
I know, but I thought that too, and then it was wait, no, no.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it'll just be the one, but the Panthers having the matchup with that now on top of that. I don't know. I think there's opportunity here for the Panthers to get an early one here and put some real pressure on the series.
Yeah, both games
go up 3-1.
Games 1 and 2 were structured almost identically. Oilers vastly outshot them in the first period, games 1 and 2. Panthers just murdered them in the second period, both games. And then third was a little bit more even. Oilers having to come back both times. Oilers have to stop playing with fire. You're going to need some stops here, and you're going to need a little bit more offense than you're getting in the second period. You can't go into the third losing again.
Yeah.
Listen, it's been real fun to watch. You eked out the first one. You beat them for the first time in 32 games or whatever it was, coughing up a lead. You tied it last game. I don't think you can win a cup on miracles alone. You have to.
Vegas almost did.
You got to be the better team,
but almost. Right. All right, let's get to the BetMGM big story. BetMGM big story time. Now listen, third game of the series. Now we're at home in Florida. I want to know what the odds are on a Sam Bennett anytime goal, because he's only scored one goal at home in these entire playoffs.
That's crazy.
And I bet you that odds do not reflect the stat. Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
3-1.
3-1?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good money.
He's pretty much tied with Reinhardt and Tkachuk with anytime goal.
And he shouldn't be.
Same with
it should be like 10-1.
He scored in more than a third of his games.
Yeah, but not at home. It should be a 10-1.
Yeah.
You see, okay, so
Adam's saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I wish I could vote against that. Sam Bennett will not score tonight. So a tough one to take. Who, by the way, who does it favor? I would assume because it's at home, it favors Florida.
The game itself?
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers are the favorite tonight, yes. The Oilers are still the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Like the odds are still favoring the Oilers to finish off the series at some point, but tonight the Panthers are favored to win.
But you're telling me the Oilers are still going to be favored to win the series if they lose tonight?
That's an interesting question.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Smart guy.
I don't think he's
smart. No, give me a Bennett goal.
Who are you taking?
Give me a Bennett goal.
Bennett
that guy
goal?
needs to make me money.
You want 3-1 Bennett to score.
This is only the 8th Panthers home game, if I'm not mistaken, because they didn't have home ice advantage. They made quick work of the Lightning. They made quick work of the Hurricanes, and they only had 3 against the Leafs. I think it's their 8th.
I think you're right.
So him having 1 in 7, I don't know. It's not good, but
it's not crazy.
It's not crazy. That road stat isn't.
It's crazy. Yeah. That's nuts.
That one's crazy.
Okay. Anytime goals. What's Nuge? Because he apparently is going to be playing tonight.
4-1.
That's a tough one for me because
he's hurt.
Both streams I've said he's going to score and he didn't.
Okay, then I'll take it, and you can say he's not going to score.
Son of a gun.
All right, Steve. Who's your anytime?
Anytime.
Either team.
I feel like I asked about this player last time. Give me Eetu Luostarinen.
Luostarinen.
What are you, Pabst Blue Ribbon?
7-1. Anytime goal.
7-1. Oh, you might want to take that.
Free money.
All right. Adam, you're asking about Sam Bennett not scoring.
Yeah.
You can take the under on his points. So you can say that he gets no points, under 0.5 points, which would be 0.
Yeah.
And that would be 2-1.
As the number one Sam Bennett hater, what are you, stupid?
He's going to score.
Okay. So you're saying he gets a goal or an assist tonight?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to see him not. But again, the home. Listen, you guys are all like, well, they've only played 7 games at home. They played 7 games at home, and he's got a goal.
Guys? I don't remember Jesse saying that actually.
Steve.
He's only got a goal. So maybe he
Garbage.
doesn't. Maybe he can't handle pressure.
Damn.
You have to wonder, right? Maybe the fans and the media have made it really too hard on him.
The booze sustained him.
Yeah.
Maybe
from other teams.
That's what Panthers fans need to do.
Boo him.
Boo him.
Are you surprised he's still not the favorite to win this Conn Smythe Trophy?
Yes.
It's Connor McDavid, Sergei Bobrovsky, then Sam Bennett.
Bob being the no, it's Bennett.
Bob's been a little leaky, man.
Yeah. So there's some value
Bob's
there.
been a little leaky.
It's name brand.
Yeah. And
it's almost 6-1.
Bob.
Bennett. Yeah.
So hold on. It's Bobrovsky, Barkov, and then
McDavid, Bobrovsky, Bennett.
McDavid.
So Bennett's probably moved up. No, I mean,
yes,
Bennett.
He has.
I mean, obviously, I'm not in the heads of the voters, but
okay,
if Bennett gets 2-3 more goals in this series and they win,
right?
What if they lose? Is he still possible to win the Conn Smythe the way
McDavid?
Okay, all right.
You have to be so cartoonishly
Listen, it's who votes on it? Who votes?
CJ.
On it? The writers, the media does,
and that's it.
Yeah,
it's CJ and Mark Messier, and that's it.
So it's the writers,
and Mark Messier's vote counts for 2.
Yeah, the writers can be difficult, man. The writers can be difficult. They can be a little bit. No, I know more than you. Yeah, like more than the opposite.
Yeah, are they going to go? Are they going to go lazy name brand, or are they going to go ultra hipster?
Can't they just
Lewis
be, here's the deal, writers. When you're voting in the Conn Smythe, just be normal, dude. Don't actually watch the games, because some of you don't, and it's showing.
Were you one of those guys who were annoyed last year when the Forsling agenda got pushed?
Yes. Yeah. No, McDavid. It was McDavid's year.
I know.
Come on.
It was fun, though.
Just be obvious about it.
No, it was fun.
Not name brand, though. Not name brand. Anyway, all right. So here's the deal. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Go to BetMGM.com/dangle. Sign up. Get in on it. And it's fun.
Let's finalize the picks.
Okay.
And then let's regroup the next time we do one of these.
Okay. Anytime goal, Nuge.
Nuge?
Luostarinen.
Okay. All right.
What about you? You can't get away with this.
Draisaitl Pot's another one.
Oh, okay. Oh, what is that? A 1.5? 1.15?
2 to 1.
2 to 1.
2 to 1.
Dude, that's easy money. Put money on it now.
All right, I'm taking it. What do you mean?
Tell all your friends to bet on that. That's crazy. Anyway, check it out again. BetMGM.com/dangle for terms and conditions. James Myrtle dropped a few bombs this morning about the Leafs. He had an article and he did a radio hit. And the first one that everybody's freaking out about, that I don't think you should, but I understand why it's a big story, is the three-way trade with Toronto, Carolina, and Vegas that supposedly was discussed, but really didn't even come close to coming together at the trade deadline. It would have been Mikko Rantanen in Toronto, Mitch Marner in Vegas, and I don't know what would have gone to Carolina. I would think like a William Karlsson or something like, maybe, I don't know. But
great question.
Here's the thing: the Vegas and Carolina were unable to, quote, come up with the assets to make the trade work. And what's interesting about that is then they pivoted to just Toronto, Carolina, which we obviously already knew about. And Mitch in this scenario was never even asked, from what we understand, to waive his no trade. I don't think James said that, but from what I understand from people I've talked to. And so
it didn't get that far down the line.
Yeah, it's like sort of like, hey, do you want to buy a Ferrari someday? Like it's sort of it's one of those conversations.
And these things happen all the time.
All the time.
GMs talk about trade.
Yes.
So yeah.
And people are already, I see people online, I see you, and you're already like, well, if Mitch didn't waive his no trade. Guys, at no point was Mitch waiving his no trade clause this spring. His wife was 4 weeks from giving birth.
Yeah.
Stop. He told the team at the start of the year, I am not waiving, I am not negotiating. And this whole, which
is frustrating, but then you shouldn't have let it happen
his
in
contractual
2023.
Right.
We've already been through this.
The number two thing that I found way more interesting and kind of encouraging is the Leafs and Max Pacioretty could get back together.
Nice.
It was a tough season with injuries, obviously, played like 37 games, but in the playoffs, he was spectacular. And why wouldn't you want that kind of depth? And are you upset if Max Pacioretty plays no more than about 40 games over the course of the season, depending upon what you're paying him? Because to me, and I think Freege was talking about this on 32 Thoughts this morning with Jamie Benn. Jamie Benn is probably going to stay in Dallas, had 49 points, and is a valuable player and is still the captain, and you probably get him on a pretty sweet deal. And the thing about him that Elliott kept saying was they got to find a way to get him fresh for the playoffs. So just like with goaltenders, like load management, everybody's like, oh, there's a bunch of wimps. Like when you get into your late 30s and the game is as fast as it is, I don't really care if Max Pacioretty misses 50 games. I care if he plays like he did in the playoffs.
Yeah. Jamie Benn, games played the last 4 years. 22, 82, 23, 82, 24, 82, 25, 80.
That's
the guy
a lot of
plays hockey.
And you're talking playoffs in there, right?
Oh, yeah, and then plus the playoff games. Like, those are just the regular season games played. Like, Jamie Benn is always in the lineup.
6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points in 17 playoff games. Do you want me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. You want Evander Kane.
Nice.
He didn't play a single game this year.
I do want Evander Kane on my hockey team. He's a very good performer.
Yeah.
So you might look at it and go, listen, I know you got to get through the regular season, but listen, you're the Leafs. You find a guy who performs well for you in the playoffs, maybe keep him.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, do you want to explain the place that Alan and you guys discussed on Agent Provocateur a couple of weeks ago about where he thinks the league is going with the older players and their contracts?
So this is fascinating. One of the things, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit later, the Ottawa Senators are not committed to spending the cap next season. Okay. And before we look at that as like a bad thing, Alan kind of mentioned that you're going to start to see guys in, and I'm not saying this is Max, but in his age range, you're plus 35s, right?
Yep.
Where you get the contracts, and a lot of these contracts are not signed. So Jamie Benn falls into this category too, where you can just load them up with bonuses based on their play. And so what happens then is you may not see some of these guys signed until December or January. Because they're just going to stay in shape. They're going to stay home with their family. And then they're going to get geared up and ready for the playoffs in 2026. And he said that type of reinforcement is really attractive to teams, especially teams with a little bit of cap space, because you're not giving up any assets and you're getting experience and the guys are fresh.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you're under a PTO deal, can't they just work with your staff anyway?
I don't know what that is.
But the PTO only lasts through training camp, right?
No, Brendan Prust, I remember years ago, stayed with the Leafs for, I want to say it was like a month before they cut him loose.
Like, can you have like a PTO from October to January?
That's a question for Alan.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I would like to know the answer to that, but I don't know. So I think the point is that, guys like this, Jamie Benn's the other one, but there will be, what did CJ keep saying? Old guys having a moment, right?
Old guy season.
Your Corey Perrys, your Brad Marchands, all these guys are now into that range.
Old guy agenda.
I'm curious about Max Pacioretty, and if, he did mention it was tough on him being that far away from his family. They're in Michigan, and I know that's not that crazy far, but it's still like a 5-hour drive from Toronto.
It's far enough.
And he has 5 children, so it's difficult to uproot them.
An hour per child.
100%.
It's too far.
If you knew Max Pacioretty was coming back and you were going to sign him at January 15th or something like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And you know what it does too until that time? It gives you an opportunity to try out some of the younger guys in your system and go, do you fit here? Do you fit here?
Light a fire under him.
Right.
As well.
Because Max is coming, and you could tell them that Max is coming. So if you want a spot, you better seize one.
Well, your job is over that 3 or 4 months to make it so that the team's looking and going, you know what, maybe we don't even need Max.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And if you can't accomplish that goal, well,
I agree.
It's your fault.
I agree.
The no risk for the injury side of things, I think, has got to be one of the most attractive parts for teams. Like, Pacioretty got injured this season, and he didn't play for large chunks of it because he was playing early on. And if you just don't have him playing competitive hockey for 4 months and you don't have to worry about him not being available come playoff time, like, that's a really attractive for these teams.
I agree.
Like, you're getting a healthy body. It's awesome.
And that's the thing. Like, you look at why do you really need Max Pacioretty for 82 games? If Max Pacioretty at this point is going to make or break your regular season, you're not that good, and he's probably not signing there.
I got a goal and 3 assists, 4 points in 5 games. You want me?
Yeah.
Gabriel Landeskog.
Oh, pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we know where he's staying.
Well, I know, but like this is what I'm saying with him, with Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, what do we do? How about half the Panthers?
Well, and I look at, I've suggested this before for the Leafs, and we'll talk about the Senators in a second because I think they're an important example. We as Leaf fans are not used to the Toronto Maple Leafs having any sort of cap space because the David Clarkson contract and the LTR Nathan Horton thing, and then the cap gets eaten up by the core 4 who needed to have every damn dollar, and then cap goes flat for 3.5, 4 years. And now we're in a new era where we probably should have been 5 or 6 years ago, where the cap is expanding and it's going rapidly. And we know it's going to jump $10 million a year, basically, maybe even more. And so what happens, and teams who don't spend at the cap will tell you this, is that you accumulate space over the course of the year.
Right.
So what looks like $5 or $6 million is equivalent to like 30 million or something. I'm making that up, but come playoff like trade deadline time,
it's a bigger number.
And the cap space, like a team like the Leafs, who I think and I would advocate for a step back year this year, a year where you're not 100,000% going for it, could benefit from something like that by facilitating trades and getting draft picks and maybe lower end prospects by helping teams that are really going for it go for it. And so if you have $5 or $6 million, that's a very valuable amount of space come post Olympics. And I think if the Leafs play this one intelligently, not only you're going to be able to sign guys like Max, who knows who else will be available. Is Jonathan Toews going to be ready for next season to start? I don't know. Apparently Winnipeg has the spot ready for him, ready to go. But he's 37
and
hasn't
Lowry,
played in
though.
2 years.
No Lowry. Maybe the second Lowry comes back. All right, now we sit Taves.
Yeah, I don't know.
For a little while, and then maybe at some point towards the end of the season, they both play together.
But it's a kind of a fascinating sort of thing, right? And I think the same thing with goaltending. I'm sure there's going to be goaltenders who are a little bit older who can sit for a little bit and wait. Like Kevin Lankinen waited right into training camp last year and put together a pretty damn good season with the Canucks.
And he could do it as a goalie who's used to sitting. And then there's Jeremy Swayman, and it ruined his season.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's...
The last one that James sort of there's a couple more he mentions in his article, but James is suggesting, and I think we've heard this from other people too, that the Anaheim offer is going to be basically Anaheim is signaling that their offer to Mitch Marner in free agency is going to be the highest.
The Godfather offer.
Yes, whether or
everything.
not he takes it, it will be more than say because Leon's going to make $14 million.
It's going to be more than Leon.
It's going to be more than that.
Yeah.
And I've heard as high as 15.
Is Marner going to be the highest paid player in the NHL next year?
It depends on, this is the thing. It depends on what he wants. And from everything that I've heard that he wants to be on a winning team, which means he's not going to be the highest paid player in the NHL next year.
$13 million was available to Tavares in 2018
from San Jose, who were going for it still.
Right.
And fell right off a cliff after that.
I think that would have aggressively changed their plans, because wasn't that before they got Erik Karlsson?
I don't remember.
I don't know. But I mean, I have a hard time believing they would have been able to have all of that and Karlsson and Tavares. So these huge, ginormous cap hits that keep getting floated out there, they've been available for years. They haven't been available where you can win.
Yes, and they're not this year. You look at the teams like Dallas is what, $5 million to spend. Vegas has
doesn't Dallas have like negative money?
Yeah, they're like they have nothing. It's kind of nuts.
They're gonna
right?
get offer sheeted.
If the Panthers are very seriously interested in Marner from everything that we've heard, and why wouldn't he be interested in them? They're in the Stanley Cup Final. But if you're going to Florida, maybe that's a $10 or $11 million deal. That's not a $15 or $16 million deal.
What do you think about Carolina? They have, I think, $30 million in cap space.
Yep.
They could do the giant offer like Anaheim and be in a position to win.
I gotta say, I've been fully supportive of listen, turn down the trade. You got to protect your family and all that. Mm-hmm. If he goes to Carolina after turning down a trade there for Mikko Rantanen,
what are you gonna do?
I think I might be upset.
Well,
oh yeah,
yeah, but his wife was 4 weeks away. You wouldn't have waived either.
I wouldn't have waived either. You're totally right, and I support it. But a lot of people are going to have a really, really hard time stomaching that.
I agree. It doesn't matter though. He doesn't care. Why would he care?
I know he doesn't care. Well, apparently he does care though.
Well,
let's stop saying he doesn't care. He very aggressively cares.
Does Carolina not make a lot of sense for the team that is in the
stylistically
the right competitive window? Who needs a star player? They need probably more of a scorer, but Mitch Marner can facilitate scoring.
Marner with Aho's crazy.
I think everybody can agree with that. Yeah. And they have the cap space.
I would say he's the best Carolina Hurricane that isn't currently one. And what I mean by that, Jesse, is I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
He is perfect for that. But the problem becomes when you get to the second and third rounds, although that's still a great problem to have, perimeter, like Carolina plays, doesn't work.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about, I don't even want to get that far.
Right.
I'm just talking about come July 1st. Yeah. Do they not make a lot of sense? And let's not worry about July 2nd.
What were they willing to offer? They were willing to go over 13 on Mikko, I think.
I tell you what, Jesse just said something very important there, though. July 2nd?
Yeah.
Bullshit, Mitch. July 1st, noon. Get this over with.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll be the first video we do
into the summer.
Yeah, I want this to be done.
It will be.
Come the first transaction we hear about at noon 01.
July 1st, noon.
Actually, the only thing that will stop it is the bidding war. The inevitable bidding war. There will be a bidding war.
Oh, not if his agent does his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bidding war takes place on the 29th
Tampering.
and the 30th. And,
Get ready for the tampering
28th.
Olympics.
The last
12:01.
where are you guys ranking the Marner teams? Because Vegas is the one that's being talked about a lot recently with that trade and everything.
Yeah.
But they only have $9 million in cap space.
they'll
so they
fire
gotta,
somebody into the
They
sun.
got to make some moves. Carolina makes a lot of sense. There's the Anaheim. There's Florida. There's not coming back to Toronto.
Okay, so
where do you guys? What's your ranking of where Mitch Marner lands?
So I'll say this. Florida makes a ton of sense. Dallas makes a boatload of sense.
I don't think so. After they got
Marner and Rant.
Yeah,
I don't
think
I don't know
Dallas.
how that-
I think Dallas, man.
I don't think so.
No,
I
I don't
disagree with
think
that one.
One team I've heard emerge because taxes are a real thing in California. Taxes are a real thing for these players. They do consider them. Los Angeles, man. Los Angeles. Big city, small market in the sense that, like, we've even had Kings fans reach out and go, hey, guys, Anze Kopitar is barely known here, and it's embarrassing.
Marner to Trevor Moore. Score.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't mean like LA is like a small market team by NHL standards. It's not. But what I mean is, like, in terms of sports coverage in that market, you have a hardcore fan base, but you got 2 or 3 NFL teams already that are more important. I would even say that the Raiders are more important in LA, even though they're in Vegas now, than the Kings might be. And I think Los Angeles makes a ton of sense. So my top 3, weirdly, are, I'm still saying Dallas,
Bad.
Florida, Los Angeles.
Steve.
Let's go number 3, LA. Adam sold me.
Oh.
This is a good pitch.
Yeah.
Let's go number 2,
Don Draper, that you sold the ad.
Carolina. And number 1, because this allows me to tack on my pet theory, Vegas.
How will Vegas open up their cap space?
Anybody.
My pet theory is they trade Mark Stone.
Interesting. Now, here's a thought. Part of the way that Vegas could pay for Mitch Marner,
Deferred salary?
nope, LTIR. Because Friedge was saying this morning that Pietrangelo might not be ready for the start of the year.
Oh.
And he said he's
okay.
heard that before and he's played. But here's the thing. If you're Petro, and let's say you've given up because Team Canada, we talked about this last episode. I love Pietrangelo.
He's not playing.
But he may not play in the Olympics because he gave up his spot and was filled in for perfectly by Thomas Harley when Harley got in.
They're already setting it up.
I don't think he's going to go.
No,
and I think he wants to win a cup in the. I wonder if Pietrangelo sits the season.
They're setting it up.
That might be extreme.
He missed the 4 Nation face-off. They're already floating. He might not start the season.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't going to be at the Olympics.
He's busted.
And you can see why.
Yeah.
He plays hard.
If they get rid of no one and get Mitch.
Listen, I it's hard to imagine Mark Stone not on that team now, but I can also see your theory working.
And it's not because Stone's a bad player.
No, he's great. It's Vegas.
He gets hurt a lot, and it's Vegas. They need to remind everyone how ruthless they are.
Their point is, are you at your peak? If you're not, you're out.
Yep, that's everybody. Absolutely everybody. Goodbye.
Hey, if you're bored of your streaming services after a winter of being kept inside and burning through all the content,
So much content.
what if you could have access to other countries' streaming services?
Well, how would you do that?
Well, you'd need NordVPN.
Oh.
You might go to nordvpn.com/dangle, get a huge discount off your NordVPN Plus plan. You get 4 additional months on top of that. So you get the huge discount and 4 additional months.
How did you not do that? You said bored, and you didn't incorporate Nord. And you should have went, if you're bored,
try
go
Nord.
to Nord.
Yeah, that's actually kind of true. I should
I
have
don't
done that. I'm sorry.
understand.
Yeah.
Adam will explain.
Now,
okay.
listen, the thing about Nord too is that it gives you, Tim uses this on the road, Tim from Nailing the Apex, Tim Moraney, uses this on the road all the time because sometimes you're in a different country, as Formula One takes you to, and you're traveling and the security on the Wi-Fi is perhaps not the greatest. So if you're using sketchy Wi-Fi, Nord is going to protect you there too. Plus, there's use for it at home because you get access to other countries' stuff.
Does
that
Tim
you
not
don't get.
trust the Wi-Fi in Bahrain?
Yeah,
No?
he hasn't said that country specifically, but I would imagine that, There are some places where he's like, this cafe seems a bit sketchy. They could just take my credit card information. And it's kind of crazy how that is sometimes how your information slips out. NordVPN prevents that. Plus, obviously, you get access to a whole bunch of different things. You should try this out. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/dangle. Huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 additional months on top of that. And by the way, it's completely risk-free. Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee is included. So again, it's nordvpn.com/dangle. Huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 additional months on top of it. Leafs are also, according to James and according to multiple places, I mean, if you ask Matthew Knies himself, Jesse, you were there, pretty confident that Knies and the Leafs will come together on a good contract before there's any. And the thing is that it doesn't even need to be done by July 1st. I need people to understand this. As much as you think, well, you can't put yourself in that position and be like, oh, like let's say a team comes in and offers them $100 million over 7 years. Okay. That's a crazy amount of money.
You take the 4 first-round picks. It's 4 first-round picks.
And
you love
funny
Matthew
thing about that,
Knies.
Adam, is it's not happening.
Right. And he's not going to sign it.
He's not a good RFA candidate.
No.
He's not.
He's not a good offer sheet candidate.
No, he's not.
Maverick Bork.
Now we're
a
talking.
Very good offer
we're
sheet
cooking.
candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's usually not those guys way up here. It's guys like Dylan Holloway, who regrets it, by the way.
I don't know that he does.
Well, he fired his agent.
Okay, but I still don't know that he regrets that.
Now,
he might just not like his agent. That is a huge jump between Dylan Holloway went to St. Louis and had 65 points.
Yes.
He would not have had that in Edmonton. He's going to make a
for
fortune.
2.3.
He's going to make a fortune, man.
Now, I'm reading, admittedly, because they are more active than other fan bases because their team is still in it. I'm reading too many Oilers tweets.
You're reading too many Oilers tweets.
So
he didn't fire he didn't fire his agent because the Oilers are in the Cup final. That doesn't make any sense.
No, because you could have signed a 1 year with Edmonton and
made
had
what,
a great
$875? Like, they weren't offering him much.
The theory, what they're doing is they're applying his St. Louis numbers to the Oilers, which just wouldn't have happened.
That would never have happened. Look how deep this Oilers team is.
Yeah. So it's guys like Holloway, it's guys like Broberg. I think Bork is a really good candidate. You know what I want to see?
Another Kotkaniemi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, one of those offer sheets where you don't even have to give compensation.
Is that under $2.5 million?
I think it's under 1.5.
Is that how low it is?
And I'm like,
so that's a free agent.
Well, if you were a bad team and you're like, okay, well, this guy is fast and he works hard and he scores. There's some warts to his game, but we're not spending to the cap. We can afford it. If you go like a hair under 1.5 million for Nick Robertson, I don't think the Leafs match it.
1.54 is the compensation.
It's for 0.
Yeah. Is the bottom.
I think the Leafs match it and go, we'll give you Calle Yarncroke. I'm kidding.
Maybe,
I like
maybe
Calle.
they try to work out some sort of deal, but like, I don't know. There's a lot of players out there you could sign and give up nothing.
Yep.
Why not? If your team's struggling, why not?
Yeah, and looking at this compensation list, I would take 4 first round picks instead of signing Matthew Knies to $11 million.
How many players in the league would you rather have than 4 first round picks?
You start with McDavid.
Like, is the number greater than 50?
Right.
Is the number greater
50?
than 30?
The 50
is it greater
large.
than 20? Is it?
Yeah. No, there's a lot of guys I'm trading for 4 first round picks.
Comment section. 4 first round picks. Who are you taking?
Well, I think if the Leafs were going to take a step back year, which I think they are, you can parlay up first round picks into a lot.
Oh, I don't have any first round picks for the next 3 years. Now I do. And 1. Plus 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Also, you don't get Matthew Knies. I want Matthew Knies.
Yeah, of course.
No one is giving him $100
I think he's
million.
the next captain. I do.
No one's giving him $100 million.
Leafs, in the time we've done our last show to this one, and we talked about him on the show on Friday. Derek Lalonde was hired as an assistant coach for the Leafs. Steve, you did a video about him. What did you find out?
So
he's replacing Lane Lambert, right, on the defensive side?
That's my assumption, but they haven't outright said that.
Okay.
So with Lane Lambert, it was a way easier video. Well, It was way easier to come to a conclusion. The research was far more difficult because I had to go over more seasons throughout his career. Lane Lambert has spent most of his time in the NHL as a coach, as an assistant or an associate, which whatever, the same thing for the layman, which I am. Derek Lalonde actually has a surprisingly short NHL resume. He coached a ton in college. He coached a ton in the USHL. He coached in the AHL. He won a championship in the ECHL as well. The only assistant coach experience you can look at for Derek Lalonde is his time with the Lightning, which was stupendous.
Yeah.
And so we talked about him as a head coach candidate for Dallas.
Yep.
He was a head coach in Detroit. He didn't do very well. Is he bad coach, bad roster? Both. I don't know.
Oh, horrible roster construction, and probably made some bad choices.
Probably did. Like, that's the thing. You gotta, whenever you cheer for a team like that, and the Leafs were that for so long, if you don't make the lines exactly the way I want to, they're gonna lose every game. But if you do what I say, probably finish first place. That's how it goes. Lalonde, it's all you have to look at is 4 years with the Lightning, President's Trophy, and all-time collapse. Cup final. So the only evidence of him as an assistant or associate coach is that he's pretty good at it.
Yep.
So
yeah. Well, they're saying Glenn Gulutzan might be an outside candidate for the Dallas job, and like you look at I think he coached. Who was he the head coach of in like 2010?
Flames?
No.
Well,
Flames
he was a head coach in Dallas.
That was Dallas. Yeah. So he might actually get it again. And like when he was the Flames coach, I used to call him like Mr. Misery. He just looked miserable. But with Edmonton, he's been spectacular. And sometimes, like with Lambert, you take a step back, you become assistant coach again, and then you learn a bunch. And I wish Lane well because he was spectacular here. And then you become the head coach you were always supposed to be.
Something about Glenn Gulutzan's hair makes him look like a smug gym leader in Pokemon.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that.
A little bit.
But you look at what he's done in Edmonton, and he's been spectacular. And, I think I guess the point here is that Lalonde, I'm open to, I think he's got a great hockey brain. I maintain that he's maybe not the most electric television personality out there.
So what?
But that'll be, I don't give a shit about that. I care about what he's...
Head coach and assistant coach are different jobs.
Yeah.
They're different jobs.
Yep.
And that's how I looked at it with Lambert, because everyone was like, Lane Lambert, because his head coaching time in with the Islanders was not good. It wasn't. So, why would they go out and get this guy? Well, you go and look at his time with Washington, where he won a cup, and Nashville, and what was the other team? Oh, it was the Islanders.
And they got to the conference finals a couple years, right?
Yeah, he went to the Final Four a ton of times. They were the second best team in the NHL over a 2-year period. It's just they kept playing the Lightning. and won a cup with Washington. So, I saw someone go like, when are the Leafs going to make a move that Steve doesn't like? Well, okay, explain why this is bad then. I went through his career and was like, here's why it could be good. Not it is good. Here's why it could be good.
I don't think you need to respond to those.
Yeah.
No.
Because I don't think they have a good gauge on your content because that's not you at all.
And you
criticize the Leafs all the time.
Leaf fans know me as blind Leaf appreciator.
Happy McHappy guy. What? Like that's
Marner. Carte blanche. Do whatever you want. He did nothing wrong.
That person doesn't have a good gauge on what you talk about.
Steve. You know what the move Steve liked the most, Jesse, was keeping the core four together after 2023. That was
I don't
supporter.
Think don't pay that person.
No. But like as a thought exercise, I was like, here's why Derek Lalonde might be good.
Yes.
Why might he be bad?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in his NHL career as an assistant, there is actually no evidence of him being bad.
Yep.
Because there's not much to look at.
Mm-hmm.
There just isn't. Mm-hmm. It's 4 years and they were spectacular.
Right.
So what do you criticize about his resume in that role?
You can't take away negatives if he's only one where he's been an assistant.
Yeah, you can't. 0 bad seasons out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
Stop being so happy about the Leafs.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Derek Lalonde is their assistant coach, and now they're going to the Cup.
Why didn't you trash them?
You know what? Not enough hair.
Yeah, there you
Let's
go.
talk about that. Bald. Bald.
With regards to Tavares' next contract, the Yanni Gourde, and we talked about this a little bit, the Yanni Gourde contract could serve as some sort of
reason to go back to therapy.
No, but yes, but also it could be one of those great benchmark deals. And people are like, well, the Yanni Gourde deal. What about the Chris Tanev deal, where they signed him to 6 years? He's going to be 42 when that contract expires. Okay, and what if Tavares signs at $4.5 million over 6 years?
That would be insane.
Give him
Play him
8. I don't care. I don't care.
8 years?
He's not going to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
If you could give him 20 years, give him 20 years. Like,
So now wait.
Give him 20.
What are the
cares?
consequences?
yeah, you can't, but if you could, you should.
What are the consequences of him signing, let's say 6, and he
That's
retires after
$27 million.
He retires after 4.
Whoopee. Like,
No, but in years 5 and 6, does he simply retire and say, I don't want the money?
no, he's on
I don't-
he's on LTIR.
And you also front load the bonuses. You front load the bonuses. You trade the contract off your books.
yeah.
I'm just skeptical that the league will let it slide.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
really?
Steve, this
You're
happens
skeptical
all the
that the
time.
league will let it slide.
Toronto.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No.
Doesn't matter.
Toronto.
Doesn't matter. What they'll say is, see, here's where Toronto needs to get more ruthless. Ed Rogers needs to throw his weight around and go, hey, guess what I am? I'm the owner of the biggest Canadian franchise and the biggest franchise in the sport by value. I'm also the Canadian rights holder. You're going to tell me what? I'm sorry, what was that?
Adam, I would love nothing more.
And I think based on the change in how Ed Rogers...
Don't make me cheer for Ed Rogers. dude.
Ed Rogers has been at the board level. He's not afraid anymore to talk.
No.
I don't think whoever Gary's replacement is saying that to the
Bill
Leafs.
Daly.
Yeah, it'll be Bill probably on an interim basis. I would say Ed will win that argument hands down.
I also don't think
That's
they're
not illegal.
They're
It's also
not
not
doing
illegal.
anything illegal. I
It's
don't
not
think he has
illegal.
to strong arm anybody for doing the right thing. Oh, I went 40 and a 40. Like he's not breaking the law here.
He's also under 40. He'll be 40 when the contract expires, which is normal.
There's already been whispers about like, oh, we don't know about this deferred salary stuff. And
Hey, you know what it is?
And
It's legal.
The Evander Kane and Landeskog stuff at the beginning of the playoffs. The NHL's grumpy.
Yeah, good.
They're grumpy, and there's a CBA coming up, and they're trying to set
I
precedent.
just wrote you $11 billion check in the next 12 years.
Doesn't matter.
12 years. Yeah, no, it does matter. And I'm going to make it matter. It's going to matter a whole lot.
So
Thank you very much.
I mean, the NHL doesn't matter, and you're going, I'm a dick.
Yeah, and if you own that much shit, you should be kind of a dick about it.
Oh,
Tilt the scales somehow, some way.
Florida Panthers have a minority owner who got suspended. I didn't
Yeah.
know they could do that.
They can.
Some of these guys are dicks.
Dude, they kicked an NBA owner out. They kicked him out.
Out. You
Two
don't
of
own
them.
this team
Actually,
anymore.
two of them.
You have to sell this team. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And also objectively the right choice.
Kipper also said that I think over the weekend that Charlie Coyle might become available. There's also a lot of questions about Marty Nietzsche in Colorado. I don't think the Leafs have the assets to go after a guy like that. But Charlie Coyle, for me, if you're looking for an answer in the lower end of center, who's a playoff performer who I've watched years and years of him beating the Leafs up and eating them alive, a guy like him and Scott Laughton being able to come into center. I'm not talking about a third line. I'm talking about like third, fourth. Charlie Coyle is instantly attractive to me.
All right, so then John Tavares is your second line center.
I mean, I still think they need an upgrade there, but I don't think they're going to be able to find one this summer.
Right, so because like if you get Coyle, then you resign to the fact that it's Matthews, Coyle, Tavares.
But
Laughton.
you put Laughton on the wing, and then you get
you got another guy.
hold on, but you get injured. People get injured, so you need Laughton there as insurance. But look at this. Okay, so
conf.
So Jonas Siegel put together a list of like 9 potential center candidates that the Leafs could go after. not being overly likely in any particular case, but some are big swings. The names are Deneau in Los Angeles, who I love, Kadri in Calgary, Carlson in Vegas, Ryan O'Reilly with the Preds. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
JG Padjo, who I've brought up before, who would guarantee that Tavares is your second line center because he'd definitely be your third line guy, but I love his defensive play. Braden Shen in St. Louis, who they desperately wanted at the deadline. Alex Wenberg, San Jose. Pavel Zacha, Bruins, if the Bruins are trying to make on. And the one that blew me away, because JT Miller and Vinny Trocheck are already there, is Mika Zibanejad. Now, he has 5 years at $8.5 million left on his contract. But this is a guy who performs in the playoffs, has a cost-controlled deal, fits the timeline of what they're going to do.
Performs in the playoffs is going to set some Rangers fans off.
Oh, okay, sorry. 44 points in his last 43 games. Performs on the Leafs curve.
No, but like to me, that's a little bit like the Marner points thing in the playoffs.
Okay.
Like people bring up the Marner points and be like, "Look at what Marner's got.
I got to do a deep dive
in 60 games."
I should do a deep dive on him.
So.
What's his 5, 6, and 7?
Yeah, show me when they won.
Yeah, no. Hey, fair. I mean, they went
Final
to the
Four?
Dude, they went to the conference final a year and a half ago.
Totally.
Twice, 2022 and 2024. That's a fascinating one. The Kadri one is probably the most fun.
I know, but you know what I'm actually worried about is Kadri's age. He's like 35, 34,
He's Tavares' age.
I know.
They were same draft.
That's and $7 million at that. I mean, I
Tavares being a 90s baby doesn't compute.
I know.
Tavares is always in my 1990.
Yeah, I'm an 80s.
Oh, I thought that's why he wore 91.
Oh, is it? I thought I was. Anyway, I think he's 90.
I don't know.
I was looking at I was on his DB.
Hey,
like,
you know what? Doesn't
he
matter.
always seems like the oldest man ever. Like since I've watched the Leafs and he's been in the league, he seems like the oldest man that's ever been alive. And he's
him and
born in
Kadri are the
90s.
same age.
It's ridiculous.
Kadri might be older by months. I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't compute
No,
at all.
No. So just these athletes.
Those guys play junior together.
Yes,
on the same team.
Ridiculous. So which one of those 9 candidates you're saying?
I love Zibanejad. I love that.
Is he available?
Well, I mean, I think the Rangers.
I think
people are saying that the Rangers have. Everybody's saying like Chris Drury's got the hardest job this offseason because Kreider you could see as an interesting candidate, but they're going to have to retain on that deal, right? Or take some bad money back, whatever it is. And I think that there was a social media post about Brandon Tanev being in Toronto over the weekend, and obviously Brandon Tanev's brother lives here and they're from here and whatever.
Come on.
But you'd think a Brandon Tanev type of player would be exactly what Brad would want. But you got to clear out your David Kampfs and your Calle Yarncroaks to do that, right?
So I was kind of thinking about that.
K'Andre Miller is apparently also very available.
Very
interesting.
Attractive. I mean,
25-year-old.
I don't know what you do with the decor on account of you have so many guys there, and some of them you can't even move. But the Leafs have a number of salary retained guys. Carlo is going to be retained for years.
2 more.
Lawton is retained
1.5 million.
And the Leafs have all 3 slots. Like you can, and those are used up by buyouts and by salary retention trades.
None of the buyouts, by the way, when people suggested that the Leafs would be considering buyouts, none of the buyouts make sense. So just wipe that from your memory. It's they're not buying anybody out unless
when you have 3 retention slots,
you can get somebody to tag an asset and then you can buy them out.
And like, even if you look at it like, oh, they're retaining $1 million on Kampf or whatever it is for the next 2 years.
Who cares?
Okay, but look at what you're saving on Carlo and look at what you're saving on Lawton. Lawton for 1.5 is insane. It's pretty good.
And Kampf has lost his spot.
Yes.
He is not a top 12 player at the end of this season.
12 that's a crazy, ruthless statement, but you're right. So we never talk about it in terms of top 12.
No, he's not. He's not.
He's just a scratch.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
He's not.
That's ruthless.
And like, the season where he had 10 goals, like, well, maybe he shouldn't have been that high up in the lineup to get 10 goals or whatever it was when he came over from Chicago.
Listen, he's given the Leafs some good games.
Sure.
He has, but it's not a fit anymore. It's not a fit anymore. And you have the slots.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder if the Leafs buy out somebody else's contract and are able to recoup assets that way. Like if you're, let's say, I don't know what Chris Kreider's buyout is, but like if the Rangers gave you a first round pick and you go and you buy out Chris Kreider with one of your slots, well, there's a great way to get a first round pick back in the system.
Listen, I don't think that's going to happen, but like now you're cooking with gas.
You got to be creative.
Yes.
Is the point I'm trying to make.
Thank you. Like if you're looking for like,
and by the way, DJ Zbad, I would friggin' love, but
it'd be fun.
I don't know if he's hard enough. You need somebody. No, you need some people in the playoffs, and Rangers fans will tell you this, who are bastards, and that's why I like Chris Kreider so much.
Yes. The reason that this conversation is good is like, listen, they don't have a ton of prospects. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a weakness. They don't have a ton of picks. All right, that's a weakness. What is the strength? They have all three of these slots and so much money.
Mm-hmm. And you can't solve your problems in free agency if you're the Leafs, especially with guys like Bennett probably not going anywhere. Taves probably going to the Winnipeg Jets. The Leafs look like the bridesmaid in that one right now.
How about you look at the Stars and call them up and go, hey, so you guys are screwed, huh? And figure something out there. They aren't they?
Supposedly.
You
mean with the defense?
No, with their cap situation.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though, is the defense, how they're spending their money.
Right.
Labushkin, right?
Call them up. Hey, so
Get
you
Bush
guys
back.
are sort of boned.
Get Bush back.
Yeah, how do we... I don't know, man. Like, there's... Let's think. Let's get creative here. We're in that funny season. The Cup Final is still on. There's some really exciting hockey. The draft hasn't even happened yet. But the offseason is upon us.
Yeah.
30 out of 32 teams are full-blown off-season mode.
Yep.
The combine is happening. Everyone's together. Everyone's imagining the future. Sugar plums and Stanley Cups dance in their heads. It is draft eve.
Yes.
For the next 3 weeks.
It's exciting.
Let's get nuts.
Just very quickly, Senators owner Michael Andlauer. We talked about this press conference, but we didn't really talk this part too much, if I remember correctly, and my memory's terrible, so you guys know. He was talking about the fact that they already have $83 million committed to players for the 25-26 season, so it's unlikely that they are going to spend fully to the cap. He said, Michael Andlauer said, we did well in the playoffs with our gate, but some teams did 2.5 times more revenue than we did. So it gives you perspective on where HRR is and where we fit into that. I'm okay with that. I think we'll be competitive. And I think they will too. And if you're the Senators, doesn't it just make sense to go, where will we be at the Olympic break? And then go, hey, we've got $10 million from the start of this year that's been accruing on our cap. We can do literally anything now.
We can go nuts.
Because I think there's really important factors here. How good is Montreal? How good is Boston? Can Boston flip it around quickly? And how good are New York? Because the fact is, for Ottawa and for Montreal to get in, New York and Boston had to fall off a cliff.
Yes.
And I think that there is some credence to the fact that New York I believe more in the Rangers than I do in the Bruins right now because of Shesterkin. But I love Swayman too.
Tough.
I think one or both of those teams is going to rebound and make the playoffs. I think you'd be crazy not to consider that possibility. Yeah. So who does that push out? Does Toronto fall off the board? Is Montreal, do they take a step forward or a step back? Is Ottawa fighting for their playoff lives again? Like, you got to think about that if you're in that position. And
a lot
for them,
of that comes down to injuries.
The best thing they could do though is pull in wait. And then you have the assets, you have the draft capital, you can do anything you want. Wait for the trade deadline.
You're forecasting something that I think is a really slept on factor here. It's not the greatest free agency class outside of like a few bangers. Like there's the middle card, the mid card is not great. Mm-hmm. So they're just going to overspend in free agency. How about you overspend at the trade deadline? Because
then you'll know where you are.
That's what this cap thing does. Is it makes the offseason more interesting, but it just makes every transaction more interesting.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to watch. Just remember the dog days of like Rob Scuderi getting traded for
a third.
There's like 4 different teams playing his salary. Like, oh my God. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, just
it
awful,
sucked.
awful stuff. Let's have some fun.
Okay. So we'll wrap it there because that's plenty to talk about for an entire episode. But we do have one more thing. You've heard of us talking about the Get Real movement, and we do this is our third year in a row doing it. We are going to have Wren on now to talk a little bit more about why we support this cause and what the Get Real movement is all about. Check it out. We're proud at SDPN to be participating in the Get Real virtual 5K fundraiser with Rainbow Railroad. And this is, this a few years in a row we've been doing this. And we're very happy to welcome Wren from Get Real. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, Wren, you work and are, not just a program coordinator, you create some of these programs. And I think one of the key things about your bio that's on the website that, it just getting to know you in the last 2 minutes, I think it's something that really stuck out to me, which is growing up, you're queer or there's something different. And that's the way it's been described to me.
Yep.
And there's nobody to model yourself after. There's no role models. And that's sort of part of what, there's a pretty big scope of what you guys are trying to do here. But that's one of the main things that you do because you do a lot of these workshops with kids.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of our bread and butter is going into schools, workplaces, and doing these workshops about 2S LGBTQ plus inclusion, also combating anti-Black racism. But yeah, for me specifically, the 2S LGBTQ plus inclusion workshops. And that's exactly it. I did not know this version of myself was a possibility when I was younger because I didn't have any role models.
Right. And so, I guess for those of us that grew up with tons of people we could have role modeled ourselves afterwards, is that a lonely feel? What does that feel like?
Yeah, it's definitely lonely, and you can't really imagine a future for yourself, and I think specific parts of a future if you don't have a vision of that. And what helps with that is seeing other people do things that, you're like, oh wow, that is a possibility. That could be something that can happen to me or something I can achieve. So yeah, it's definitely a lonely feeling, pretty isolating when you don't have those role models.
Right.
Yeah.
What helped you realize your future?
Actually, for me, so when I came out as trans in like my early 20s, it was actually roller derby, a sports space that I was in that helped me.
I've had some friends that do that. I've heard it's great.
It is.
So cool.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's a full contact sport. It's amazing. And that was the first time that I was surrounded by other trans folks. I saw myself reflected. And then I saw that they were thriving and being celebrated for who they were. And it was especially important for me because it was in a sports space.
Right.
I had quit sports for about 10 years because I didn't think I could be myself and continue to play because I didn't see any role models around me.
And that's something that you've now kind of brought into this, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so since roller derby, I played for about 10, 12 years. And then now I've gone back to the sports that I played as a kid.
Which are?
Soccer and hockey.
Okay, great.
So I've gone back to those sports. And as I've been in them, I've just really realized even more so how important it is for folks to have role models in those spaces. And not just the role model part, but for those spaces to be full of allies. It's not a space that is generally, super welcoming of folks in the queer community. And it means, especially for youth, that they quit sports a lot when they reach kind of like, teen years, or they just like don't enter sports at all. So it was really important for me to like combine my love of sports, being an athlete, working with Get Real to create a sports and rec workshop. So yeah, we do that with like adult sport leagues, youth sport leagues, the participants, coaches, refs, stakeholders, just to help create those more affirming spaces in sports specifically.
And I find it has nothing to do with really like on the ice or on the field kind of part of the game. It's all about the locker room culture and that behind the scenes stuff when you're with your teammates and you're hanging out. And like I played travel baseball as a kid, and you're going on road trips and you're with all these different families and you're in the hotels. Like it's all about those instances.
Yeah.
You want those spaces to be inclusive.
Yeah, like those spaces for sure. Also like on the ice and on the field as well. But yeah, because sports aren't just about the part where you're doing the sport.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much more involved in it. Yeah, if you're on a travel team, you're on the bus, you're in hotel rooms, you're like bonding as a team. And like nobody should ever feel like they can't be who they really are in those spaces.
I suck at hockey, and I was wondering how difficult was it to pick it back up?
To be, there is never a time that's too late to start hockey. I really believe that.
Yeah.
I played since I was like 3. My dad owned a sports store. Like the joke is I had skates on as soon as I was like able to walk.
Awesome.
And roller derby is a skating sport. So yeah, getting back into it wasn't that hard. I feel like my hands are taking a little bit longer to come back.
Sure.
The hand-eye coordination. But yeah, the skating, it is one of the most like joyful experiences ever.
Yeah.
Being on that.
How often are you playing right now?
I play twice a week right now. I was just in a really amazing tournament called the Toronto Pride Hockey Tournament. It was the 3rd year that it happened. Tournament for queer folks, trans inclusive, really, really amazing.
I have to know, maybe this is bad. Roller derby for me it's like all the hockey stuff, but a harder surface and less equipment. So what's like the gnarliest injury?
Elbows.
Like what can you in your 12 years?
Like me personally?
Yeah.
Definitely a few concussions.
Yeah.
Which is not great because I like already had some from hockey.
Sure, of course.
Right.
So yeah, definitely concussions for sure.
Like you got to be a warrior to do that. Like it's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's a full contact sport. It's
Yeah.
pretty intense. It's like one of the only sports where you're playing offense and defense at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
And there's no ball, there's no net.
And the elbows are flying.
Right.
They're flying.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so here's the deal. Listen, we've got a $4,000 goal with SDPN, and you can find our page in the link of the description for any show on Pride Month, not just this one, but on Friday, June 27th, we encourage you to go out, run, walk, ride, or anything that has wheels. Wren would know about this. So bikes, Wren biked here, skateboards, scooters, rollerblades, roller skates, whatever it is. You can push a stroller, get creative, and use the hashtag GetReal5K or hashtag Rainbow Road 5K, or use both. In fact, it'd probably be better if you did. And great, and we can't wait to see all your posts and that sort of thing. And of course, if you can donate, we would love that. $4,000 is what we're looking to do. And again, it's educational tools so kids in the 2S LGBTQ plus community can feel less alone and safer in school. And your donations equally help the Rainbow Railroad evacuate more queer individuals fleeing dangerous environments around the globe to find safety. Wren, thank you so much for coming.
And Wren, if somebody had a business or a school and they wanted to get one of these workshops in there, how would they do that?
Yeah, our website, best place to go, thegetrealmovement.com, has all the information you need right there. And yeah, we have a lot of different speakers, so yeah, we can do things pretty last minute too. So not too late to book for June.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.